Welcome back to the show where we give you all the Dolphins news you need to know about. So I thought since OTAs is wrapping up, we would look back on OTAs and really discuss who's had a great OTAs and who really met expectations and even exceeded expectations. Some of these players on the list you guys may have never heard of. So this first guy is the obvious one who I think every Dolphins fan has heard about so far in OTAs is Devante Parker. He's had a great OTAs. Just to get some of the criticisms out of the way that he has just literally smashed so far this offseason. His consistency, he's been insanely consistent in OTAs. He just keeps shining bright. I mean, he never has one bad day, and then the next day he has a great day, which consistency in Devante Parker's career has been a huge question mark. If he could just stay consistent, he would be one of the best players in the league at his position. And then you look at other criticism of Devante Parker, really not dedicated, and some of those things that Adam has brought up with him, you've seen in press conferences, the fact that he really isn't really that dedicated, and his conditioning is off. So all of those things have just been smashed so far on OTAs, which is just great news. And obviously injuries really halted Devante Parker's career from just taking off from day one, right? So it's just nice to see that we have 100% healthy Devante Parker. His work ethic's there. His dedication is there. Everything we've been hearing about Devante Parker and OTAs from what Clyde Christensen said, and keep in mind who Clyde has coached. Clyde has coached Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark, all three Hall of Fame caliber pass catchers, and he called Devante Parker a Hall of Fame caliber player. He used the word, his exact quote was, some of the criticisms that he had with him and that he's just completely a different player, is he would look like a Hall of Famer one day and then just totally disappear the next, and he's just keeping up that consistency of looking like that every single day. And Devante Parker, not really an emotion shower throughout his career in Miami. He's a very quiet person. He's not too vocal. He's not like Jarvis, who if he catches something on you, he's going to let you know about it. Devante Parker is kind of a quiet person. There was a play in OTAs, I don't know if you probably guys know about it. He caught a ball on Byron Maxwell, and it was obviously Devante's a beast at 58 high point balls, and he caught it right over Byron Maxwell. Byron Maxwell's a big dude and fairly athletic. And it was right where the sideline was, near the sideline, and he caught it, and he got up and he let Byron know, hey, you just got mossed. So Devante Parker is he's staying consistent. He's healthy. I think his OTA so far is a huge arrow up for the Miami Dolphins because we really need him to come into his own to really get this offense going. He's such a red zone threat. He's a great run after the catch receiver. He just needs to stay consistent. And to hear that he has been throughout OTAs is just such a good feeling as a Dolphins fan because I cannot wait to see his talent level because we've seen it. We've seen it against Buffalo. We've seen it against San Diego. We've seen flashes of it. We've seen it against Baltimore. If he can just put it all together during a whole 16-game season, he's going to put the NFL on notice. So it's just great to hear that he is doing that in practice, and that's where it starts, and then it leaks into games. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see more of it. I can't wait to see more of Devante Parker. All right, next up is Ajayi, who is just a rising superstar in the NFL. He continues to improve in OTAs, and quoting Clyde Christensen in his OTA press conference, if I had to pick one guy, this is what he said, quote, if I had to pick one guy who's improved 100%, it would be Ajayi. And some of you might be wondering, well, how in the world is that even possible, since Jay was one of our best players last year, right? And he was obviously consistent. And Jay, one of the things that Jay really struggled with throughout his early careers in the NFL is in the passing game. And I've talked about it before, how big a part of Adam Gase's offense backfield. If you look at Adam Gase's history, you see Matt Forte, who he did great things with there in Chicago. Then you go to Knowshon Moreno, who he literally got 500 yards receiving, and Knowshon Moreno, not known for his receiving prowess, right? So that is a huge part of Adam Gase's offense, is the running back coming out of the backfield. And the last 2 seasons, really, or excuse me, the first year under Adam Gase at least, even before that though, Jay really has not looked, he's looked very, it doesn't look natural for Jay. Like, I made a joke last year, every time Jay caught a ball, it looked like he was catching a rocket, because it really did. He was like, as soon as he caught one, he was falling down, he was stumbling, it wasn't smooth, his route running wasn't really there. But when you watched him coming out of Boise, one of the things he did so well was coming out of the backfield. He was so good at screens, he was so good at coming out of the backfield on any kind of route, a wheel, an angle route, whatever it was, a hot route. He could do it amazing, and he had great yards after the catch. He was a great receiving back in college. So why it hasn't translated to the NFL as much, I really don't know, because he really is a multifaceted running back. He really can do it all. At least in Boise State he could, and I know he can still do that because in practice we've seen him have insane catches before, like one-handed grabs, all that. He's got great hands. So I don't know why that hasn't translated to NFL games, but so far in OTAs, he really proved that he is going to be a weapon in the receiving game, which is huge news because Jay is already a beast. He's already going to get a ton of touches in the running game, and to hear that he has just improved that much in the receiving game is a huge testament to Ajayi's work ethic. I mean, he's just going to be even better this upcoming season, and I can't wait to see him coming out of the backfield because, guys, if you just go back and watch him at Boise State, you will see how great, like how good Ajayi is coming out of the backfield. He is an absolute beast. Most of his touchdowns were in the receiving game. So, yeah. Next up is Charles Harris, who has left quite an impression on the Miami Dolphins organization. He hasn't been complacent in everything that he's done. He's shown that he's one of the more explosive players on our defense. His first step in OTAs looks amazing. Now, one thing I will say, pausing on Charles Harris, he's had a great OTAs, and we're going to get into why he has had a great OTAs, but you really can't tell for a defensive end until training camp. That's when they get pads on. That's when they actually can hit each other. So put a pause on this. It doesn't mean everything in the world, but so far in OTAs, Charles Harris's explosiveness has just leaked through and just impressed everybody in the Dolphins organization. His first step, which is something you cannot teach a defensive end, in a stacked 2017 NFL draft with defensive linemen galore, Charles Harris by far had the best first step. It's not even close. So combine that with the work ethic that we've been hearing from the Dolphins organization. Obviously, there was that awesome story of when he got drafted, he asked Jason Taylor. The first thing he asked Jason Taylor, first time he ever met him, was, "Can I work out with you? Can we watch film together?" And when people asked Jason Taylor, "Has anybody ever asked you that?" he said no. So Jason Taylor, just that story alone just goes to show you the mindset that Charles Harris has. He's an ultra competitor. He wants to be the best. He strives to be the best. He doesn't get complacent. So I think all of those things that we've heard from Dolphins camp, especially the explosive first step. Obviously, when they asked Laramie about Charles, he said he is just a freak athlete. So I can't wait to see him with pads on and really get to use his technique, because that's another thing that Charles Harris was really, really excelled at. I think he really used his hands well in college. He's a sound technician. So everything that we've heard from Charles Harris so far has been extremely, extremely positive. The next guy that has surprised a lot of people in OTAs is Michael Thomas. Now, the slot corner role has been a very, very controversial topic among Dolphins fans. Some people like Michael Thomas, some people like Bobby McCain, some people like Cordrea Tankersley, and it's really split. So we really don't know who's going to play that slot corner role, and it's probably the biggest question mark on the Miami Dolphins team in general. So the fact that Michael Thomas has turned heads when he's played that position, because God knows the man's played safety, he's played a gunner on special teams, and he's played slot corner. He hasn't really got a ton of looks there. So in OTAs, he got a ton of looks at the slot corner role, and he excelled at it. He does a lot of things that you need a slot corner to do. He's extremely smart. He's good with his hands, and he's a great open field tackler. Some of those things Bobby McCain is not the greatest at. The only thing that I think Bobby McCain has on Michael Thomas is he's a better athlete than Michael is. But it is going to be interesting to see, because Michael Thomas, again, has never really exclusively, actually never at all, exclusively played the slot corner position. So when he did line up there, he performed very, very well. He made plays, he got deflections, he got interceptions. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. But so far, Michael Thomas has turned heads in the offseason so far. Alright, the next guy we're talking about has truly impressed and turned heads and came out of nowhere in OTAs. He had a really, really good OTAs, and that is wide receiver undrafted free agent Morgan, who has just impressed everybody. To compare his playing style to some other players in the NFL, just kind of give you guys of kind of what kind of style player he is. He plays a lot like Danny Amendola did in his Rams days, and Eric Decker did. He's just a little bit shorter than Eric Decker, and maybe doesn't have the athleticism that Eric Decker had. But Drew Morgan has really just made plays in OTAs. Throughout OTAs, he made plays. He just made catch after catch after catch. Impressed Adam Gase so much that he had some work with the ones. So that is saying a lot for an undrafted free agent, especially with the talent level that we have on the Miami Dolphins roster. So I would look for him to possibly make a huge impact on the Miami Dolphins. We've seen undrafted free agents like Wes Welker come in and do this kind of stuff before. So who knows? He could be the next Wes Welker. I doubt it, but I can't wait to see him in training camp. He's impressed all the coaches. He's impressed Clyde. He's impressed Adam. He's turned a lot of heads. He's made a lot of big plays in OTAs. And like I said, his playing style is more along the lines of a Danny Amendola than it is a Wes Welker. So that is going to be it, guys. I am Skag83. That has been your Miami Dolphins news update, and I will see you guys in the next one.